Hey guys, this is the FANA Fan Podcast. I'm Ben.
And I'm Topless, and for all you Groundhoppers, this podcast is for you. And tonight, we're joined by a former work colleague of mine and a former teacher of Ben. It's James. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. You?
Yeah, great, pal. Thank you for coming on. Great to hear from you again.
Yeah, no problem. No problems. Good that you're keeping well and keeping the fans entertained whilst seasons are being null and voided all over the country and there's no football.
I know, mate, yeah, but hopefully it won't be for too much longer.
No, that's it. Everybody's getting itchy feet now. Pull the boots back on and pay the $5, get through them turnstiles, and hopefully we'll get back to it pretty soon.
Indeed.
Can't wait for that moment.
I know, it feels forever, doesn't it? It feels forever, even though this lockdown's not been so long, but that still feels forever, and that stop-start, even right back to the first lockdown. So yeah, it'd be nice to get some sort of consistency and football back underway.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It was a year yesterday since I went to Bramall Lane for the last time when we played Norwich. That's
Norwich.
How long it's been.
I know, we were saying same, me and my brother, a year ago. Flipping heck, that's it's ridiculous. What you'd give now to be back in a full house at Bramall Lane, even though things aren't going according to plan, but you'd still rather be there than not.
Yeah, there's nothing better.
Exactly.
So, James, what is your background within football?
Background, right? So, taking it right back. So, from school, getting picked up by Rotherham United. So, I played for Hands of Boys before that, and then got signed for Rotherham United around 10 years old, 10, 11, and spent a number of years at Rotherham, and then sort of got offered extended schoolboy forms because at the time I were tiny, not a lot on me at all, and they wanted to see if I'd develop and grow. So they didn't offer me a YTS, as it were back then. It were extended schoolboys, and I sort of looked at it and I turned that down, and I went to college then, and from college sort of getting picked up in non-league, and it just went from there really. So right back from a real young age, 4 years old, playing football, kicking a ball about at Hands of Boys, and then like I said to Rotherham, and then through into non-league. So I had a few trials, as it were, back then at different clubs and opportunities to go into non-league clubs and league clubs. And actually, I went to Worksop as one of my first non-league teams. So yeah, right back then to Worksop Town, like under 19s, and then periphery at first team at a young age, at only sort of 17, 18 at this time. But yeah, football's been there all my life. My parents have really been supportive. My brother played football as well, so from a football family. My mum always said, like, two lads and me dad, three men in family, or boys as they were playing. If you can't beat them, join them. So my mum used to come along as well.
We should get my mum into football, honestly.
I know, yeah, she used to love it. I can still hear her voice shouting and screaming now outside at pitch. Yeah, you've got it, go on, you've got it. Mum, shut up. Yeah, so yeah, they're really supportive of it years, and then it just sort of went on from there. Non-league, Worksop Town, in and out. Like I said, periphery at first team, playing regularly in the reserves and under 19s. Had some really good times there. And then, because I weren't getting regular first team football, went and played at Gladwell, as it were, back then, North East Counties. So playing in North East Counties at a young age. Had 3 years at Stocksbridge, really successful 3 years up at Stocksbridge under Peter Inkovich, Jay Mabry, really good management team, and we had some phenomenal players, unbelievable players, and the restrictions of budgets and stuff. People talk about budgets and payrolls and what people are earning, and back then it weren't about that. It were about an ethos of togetherness and really, can we move forward together and move this really good club forward under a real good chairman as well, Alan Bethel, as it was there. So 3 good years up there. Had a short stint at Ilkeston. Then I got signed for Belper, and they were probably my favourite days alongside Stocksbridge. So I had 3 years as captain at Belper, some successful times, and then it's sort of management, assistant management, coaching come around probably too quickly when I look back at it, and a regret of mine is probably not playing for a bit longer before going to managing and coaching. But can't have any regrets, and here I am today, jobless.
So at the time then, what made you go into management instead of carrying on playing? What do you think the deciding factor was?
Opportunities, really. I was having a conversation the other day with somebody, and every opportunity that's come along seemed to be the right one, seemed to be the right opportunity. So, and I was always one of those that wanted to take opportunities and never have regrets. So I always thought, like, when I first got offered an assistant manager's job at Worksop Town, a huge club in non-league, with unbelievable fan base and support and the backing. And when I got offered that opportunity under Rinke, it was just too good. And back then at like 26, 27, already assistant manager, me wanting to go into management long term, thinking this is a bit of a stepping stone at a young age. Learn from Rinke, learn from other people around, good experienced non-league players. And really stand me in good stead for where I could see myself on the journey and my vision into management or coaching or assisting, whichever it might be. So yeah, that was an opportunity that come up, and I thought, right, I can't say no to this one. And I was still playing in and out of the team, but my main focus were setting the lads up on match days, looking at like set plays, looking at all the pre-season training, which I loved, and I think is a strength of mine, like the coaching side of it and the organisation. So yeah, that's where it came from, and it was just a real good opportunity.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you played some big clubs at the time as well in the non-league ladder, so to manage them as well, I'm guessing it's a great honour at the time. Yeah,
definitely. The like I say, I mentioned about the fan base at Worksop, and I had some really good times, some really good memories. When I was sort of on in and out of the first team squad, we at Worksop back in 2002, we actually got to the first round proper in the FA Cup. We played Bournemouth away, and I think it was the first game on Bournemouth's ground all those years about the ground they're playing today, and it was an FA Cup game, and me to travel with a squad and the memories of that FA Cup run and the passionate fans and the support behind you. I just didn't. I couldn't see anything else apart from being a part of that. So yeah, really powerful club, playing some powerful teams back then, non-league teams, and just how things ended up there with Rinke and myself actually leaving. We were second in the league when Rinke decided enough, and that were things happening behind the scenes, and things weren't quite right off the pitch. So Rinke decided, right, he was resigning, and I was one of those to stand by Rinke. He brought me in, so I'll leave with him, sort of thing. And the new manager came in and offered me a coaching role within that new management structure, but I sort of said, no, I'm going to go with Rinke, and stood by that. And Rinke then actually stood by me and took me to Frickley with him, which were another challenge in itself, but another really good club. And I'm happy to say that they're flying at the moment, Frickley, which is good to see for that club.
Yeah. Before I go back to Worksop, I've just got to mention 2 episodes ago we had a guy called Ken who works at Frickley.
Oh yeah,
he told us all about that club. I mean, I've only ever come across him once on which, believe it or not, he's actually at Worksop New Year's Day 2020 when they won 3-0. Right. Again, another, like I say, I agree, definitely a good club. I'm looking forward to going to that ground.
Yeah, they've really developed it as well since we were there.
Yeah.
And people know South Elmsall and the community there, really passionate community that get behind the team. The ground itself and the changing rooms when we first went, it needed a lick of paint to say the least. But they have really developed it. And I remember coming out of that cage, what I think should have been known as a tunnel, but it was more like a cage, and it were like welcome to hell. But that were really, really good for us, and exactly how we wanted it. Wanted it to be hard and not sort of the most attractive of places to come, especially underneath in the stands. And I used to think people need to feel it when they come here, because we needed everything at the time to get results to keep us in the division. And we managed to successfully keep us in the division. But yeah, any quick wins we could get walking out of that cage, welcome to hell. It's exactly how we wanted it. Cold in the dressing rooms, turn the showers, don't put the hot water on. Yeah, so anything we could get to give us the edge, that's what we tried at Frickley.
You just hope they didn't get the blood pumping all that cold water, eh?
I know, that's it.
So when you were with Worksop, what division were they in? Were they in similar to what they are now, or were they?
Yeah, so it was Unibond Prem at the time, and I don't know if obviously with the structure of the leagues, and they reshuffled the leagues, so they were a Unibond Premier, and that was basically the equivalent of both leagues together. They do it in North and South or regional now, don't they?
Yeah.
But yeah, it were a powerful league with, if you think of the top 10 teams from each league, that were just basically one league back then. So we played some really top teams and well established teams that are still going now. But it were a tough league, that Unibond Premier.
Yeah. Do you have any favourite memory of Worksop, or is it just Bournemouth the one that you'll always remember?
Bournemouth stand out, but I don't know what I can and can't say on this podcast. I don't know who's listening or watching. I mean, many coach journeys where we just used to get absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it were a crate on get a crate on bus or don't get on bus at all on way home. And some older lads, I remember skipper Lyndon Whitehead, and they were like Gav Smith, who's manager of Sheffield FC. They were like, I could go on forever with the names, and I don't want to be name dropping, but the squad back then were unbelievable, and it had ex-pros in it and really good pros. But we used to get on with crates, me and my pal Ryan Heinley. I'm sure you've come across him, massive. He's been non-league in and out of non-league. We used to get on with crates or nothing at all, because we were earning hardly anything. But then big earners used to get on with the bags of wine and boxes of wine. Yeah, so some really good journeys. But I think obviously on the pitch, the FA Cup run, the Bournemouth one, playing, making me debut for the first team in different competitions. The fans, the chants, the singing, the sort of the lads who are still there today watching Worksop home and away. Many memories from Worksop Town, and I know that they're in safe hands with Pete Whitehead, who's the chairman now, who was old chairman at Hands of Paramours, and really good management team as well in place. So I'm sure that they'll have more successful years moving forward.
And I have to say as well, I think Worksop Town fans, like you say, they're fantastic. They were, when I went there to do a blog post about them, it was on my birthday last year in October. They played Glossop, North End, won 5-1, singing throughout the game. I gave them a great rating. Thought they were fantastic. Yeah,
they are. They are great. They are. They're the best and the worst around.
I know what you mean by that, yeah.
Yeah, they're absolutely vile if things are not going right. And I just remember playing against them for Frickley, and I got some right hammer. So yeah, they are unbelievable fans, and they just want the best for the club, but they can make it so intimidating and hard work for opponents. But that's exactly what you want. So yeah, fair play to them.
In terms of the FA Cup run, then, what was it like getting to the first round proper?
Yeah, lots of hard work, lots of fight, lots of graft. I mean, lots of thought from the management and tactics, and lots of set plays. Worked on set plays and possession, in and out of possession. But yeah, tactically, but also mentally as well. But I just that sort of highs of the run up to it and the previous games, and every time you won the previous round, you're thinking, actually, we can get to first round proper here. And I think it was Forest Green we played away and we scored late on, and then we got drawn Bournemouth away. But Bournemouth away, just the travel. We went on the Friday, the day before the game. I think it was Friday, where the game was on the Saturday. Travel to Bournemouth, and manager at the time, Paul Mitchell, who's head of recruitment at Sheffield United. I remember getting sort of a couple of hours into the journey, and then they were looking at who's going to share a room. So we were like, right, who's going to share a room? And there's me and there's Ainley, one of my best pals, and he were again looking in around first team. So he says to us, right, are we going to share a room? So I've said, well, I'll go with Ainley. So he said, no chance of you two going together. It's one of the biggest games at club's history. You two will not go to bed all night. You need to get preparing. So I'm like, nah, come on, let's go with Ainley. And he says, no, you're not. So he puts me in this room with this lad who I've never met, because they signed him the day before the game, and he was a centre half, and he'd been an ex-pro, he'd been around everywhere. Gary Bennett, he was called, and he was Darlington assistant manager at the time. So anyway, I'm a young kid, biggest game ever, and I'm thinking, I've never even met this kid. So Benno's like, he's out. I've never met him. I'm in my room, 10 o'clock, looking at my watch. 11 o'clock, I've put all his stuff on the bed, like his match day gear, his polo shirt, everything's laid out for him. I'm thinking, I'm going to impress this lad. 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, I'm thinking, where is he? Still not in, not come in. Anyway, turns up pissed up. He's pissed up night before a game, and I'm preparing and thinking I need to get ready here. And he's a 39, 40-year-old seasoned pro, just taking it in his stride. But yeah, there's some really good memories from that cup run, and just in general. But that's the standout probably. And then the night out in Bournemouth afterwards, which I'll not talk about too much.
Okay.
What would you say the best ground you've played at then?
Again, we out like dropping it in there, but I played at Anfield, played at Bramall Lane and Russ Bucket near Barnsley. I think it's called Hillsborough. Played there. But yeah, obviously they're the pro grounds, and like I said, the experiences that we had from there, playing there, but winning trophies there as well, and the celebrations, the togetherness, the lead up to it, some really happy times there. But in terms of non-league, Telford was like going back years now, but when Telford built their little ground, and I think that was a standout. It felt like a football league ground, to be fair. And then most recently, FC United of Manchester, and again the fan base and the support, and I'm sure you've been, if
mate,
not,
fantastic.
Get that on. Yeah, get that on your to do. But when we played FC United at the new stadium, we played them at Gig Lane as well. Obviously Bury, but that they've created an atmosphere there. But yeah, I think they're the two or three standouts, and non-league. But for some reason, I always enjoyed Nantwich, and yeah, I think that's it's got a big stand, and again felt a bit more professional when you were coming out of there, and there were spectators behind you in the stand, and then the sweets and exec box and stuff that you could use afterwards. Thought that, yeah, really good.
So if it's flip it, what would you say the worst ground you've played at, and why?
Oh, there's been some terrible ones in non-league, and it's not so much the ground as such. It's but I think Glasshoughton is the worst pitch I've played on. The worst pitch I've seen my team play on when I'm managing. And behind the scenes, and the people are lovely, and I don't want to sound too critical, because I know how hard people in non-league work, and that will be somebody's prized possession. You know, they'll wake up in the morning and they'll think, right, I've got to go and put the lines on the pitch, or I've got to go and cut the grass. Unfortunately, every time I played there, they didn't put lines on or cut the grass, or at roller must have been broke. But yeah, Glasshoughton, I think, is by far the worst. Certainly at North East Counties level. But yeah, I'm no snob to it. I've played Sunday League football, so it's and I'm still play Sunday League football now. So no snob to where we play. But if I had to say one, I'd say Glasshoughton.
Let's just hope that the groundsman doesn't listen to this. And
I know, yeah.
I'm sure you're thinking the same as me, Ben. Thank God I didn't mention Grantham Town. Not them again.
Yeah.
Wow. It's just the last when we've asked that question, the last two have mentioned Grantham Town has been bad because it's running track around it. It's like, don't mention them again.
Yeah. Well, I were going to mention Gould, to be fair, for the same sort of Gould's really open. So Gould would be up there, and if people are listening, they'll see one of my worst ever performances at Gould as a player. I've never been quick, but when that one of the sides of the pitch where I was playing right back at the time, it was like I was running in quicksand, and people still laugh about it now, because they were just sand all down one side of pitch, and I've always been slow. Slow is an understatement, but that day it was like I was running in treacle or quicksand, and people still laugh to this day.
It's incredible. I've got to mention as well, I mean, honestly, I'm not jealous that you played at Anfield, honestly. But what game was that you were playing at Anfield?
See, that was a Sunday League Cup called the Carlsberg Cup back then, and believe it or not, that were only the semi-final. So the semi-final of the cup was at Anfield. The final were at Millennium Stadium.
Wow.
So I mean, we didn't make it to the final. We got beat by a team from Birmingham, 2-0. But we were all Sunday League players, good Sunday League players who had been playing Saturday football as well. And we linked two teams together, two Sheffield-based teams. Successful team in the Royal Earl in Sheffield, and Answerfold Crown, as it were. And we merged the two teams and basically had a pick of the two squads. And we were a brilliant team. And that were another one of my happy memories. We in the previous round, the quarters, we played away at Plymouth. So we decided to go down on Sunday and have a piss up in Torquay on Sunday, and then we were playing the fixture, the quarter final on the Monday night. But people thought, well, just take it steady. And then we got to Torquay. Wow, what a night out that is! So it weren't taking it steady. It were partying all night, and then tried to get up and play football. Luckily, it were a Monday tea time kickoff. So that were a Sunday League Cup, Carlsberg Cup. Some good times there. And I mean, playing at Anfield with my brother as well, mum and daddy in the stand. So I were right back, my brother were left back. Mum and dad watching us as proud parents in the stand. It were something I'll never forget.
Fantastic. I didn't realise that Sunday League actually stretched that far. It's like an FA Cup of it, isn't it?
Well, yeah, we're a national competition, big competition. I think it'll still be going, the competition. It'll just be rebranded as a different name. But back then it was Carlsberg Cup, and it were a real opportunity. And then if you played at the Millennium Stadium, I think it was it went then international. So like you won the nationals and then represented England in the international final at Millennium Stadium. So you wore England kit and everything, all provided. But yeah, unfortunately, we didn't make it that far.
Wow.
It might be something to do with our goalkeeper, who were an unbelievable keeper. I'll not mention his name, but people know I'm talking about if they're listening. He had a couple of sneaky bottles of Bud on way to the game, drinking Bud on back seat of the coach to calm his nerves. But yeah, he were a frightening keeper. But yeah, just a few stories that you won't be able to talk about now. People would shoot you down.
Fair enough. For nerve settlers. I never knew footballers would drink. I know darts players would, but I never knew football players would.
Well, this is it. This is how games evolve, really. Back then, 10, 15 years ago, it were very much a drinking culture. It were very much like social aspect. It weren't just literally turn up at 1 o'clock, 1:30 on a Saturday. It was about that togetherness, and it were almost like your own family, your own football family. And now I think it's all about how the game's evolving over time, and certainly non-league is following the pro league with lads looking after themselves more. A lot of the lads want to look the part, and they get the physiques right, and they look trim, and they have gym memberships. But then you question whether that's the way forward. Obviously, it is for the game, because it's evolving rapidly, and we know there's forever changing leagues and structures, so people have to be prepared for it. But back then it was very much a culture of this is us, and we stick together, we drink together, we win together, lose together. And I think now it's a case of lads look after themselves, look the part, more athletic. Can they get around the pitch more? I'm not saying fitter, because they were fit lads back then as well. But yeah, it's very much individuals. They do it for themselves and see how far they can get, rather than that sort of us and that team culture.
Well, just with that as well, we had an ex-professional one, Simon Ramsden. And he was talking the same. He said when he was playing, he said like Tuesdays after training, all the lads would be in the pub, and they said like when they were playing, he said back then you didn't have your 6-pack, you had belly, like sort of beer bellies while playing, whereas now footballers are now athletes, and just the fitness what comes of it, and all the training what comes of it is completely different now as well. Like you said, it's all evolving. And
that was at League
absolutely.
2, by the way. Who was talking about? Yeah.
Well, I've got some stories that I've heard of it years about people who have played pro and stuff, and what the diet was and what it has to be today, and it's scary. But you look at like finding that balance, and who's to say that was right and this is? Do you know what I mean? That was wrong. This is right. It's a results business, really, and it's performance business. And if you're performing, I remember Jamie Vardy playing at Stocksbridge, and it's still to this day like the amount of Red Bull that he drinks, and people say, right, you shouldn't be having that much Red Bull, but he hadn't done Vardy too badly, has it?
No.
Did you play with him at Stocksbridge?
Yeah, we were up at Stocksbridge. He was a young kid at the time. He was somebody that was in and out of the first team. Spent a lot of the time in the reserves with his mates, and he were a local lad, and he was playing in Stocksbridge reserves, but he would be involved in the first team, and he were obviously. I don't think anybody expected to see how far he'd go in the Premier League and the England call-ups and 100 club in the Premier League, but his frightening pace and his raw attributes and his raw talent. People obviously could see that, and I remember speaking to Alan Nill, who was the Scunthorpe manager at the time, obviously Sheffield United assistant manager, a good friend of mine as well. I remember speaking to him and saying, look, you need to go and get this kid. You need to go and sign him. And at the time, I think Stocksbridge wanted 40 or 50 grand for him. And Scunny couldn't afford it. But anyway, Nilly went to watch him. Half an hour in, he gets sent off. No. He got sent off, and Nilly's ringing me saying, like, who's this kid? Who's this kid you've sent me to watch? I said, look, you need to trust me. You need to go and get him. And I think it was just down to finances, and Scunny couldn't afford that money that Stocksbridge were after. And obviously then he went on and he kicked on from there. But yeah, played with Vardy. Not as much as I know that some of my other pals did, and he played in a successful team. When I was at Belper, we lost to Stocksbridge in the playoff final, and he was playing for Stocksbridge. We lost 1-0. He didn't score. Another legend did, Andy Ring, who's playing at Penistone now. He scored and beat us 1-0, and they got promoted, and we missed out actually from automatic promotion that year by 1 point. And Stocksbridge, I think, snuck in the playoffs and then come and turned us over. That were one of the most disappointing times in non-league, to be fair.
Yeah, it's never nice to lose a final, is it?
No.
I mean, we're close with Jamie Vardy at all. Was he?
Yeah. No, I won't say close. No, I think at the time we were we'd been around that sort of non-league a bit longer, and people tried to sort of help and advise, and there were other people more closer than I was. Vardy just liked to have a laugh all the time. Just I were a bit too serious and a bit too professional, but I was like 4 years older than Vardy, so I'd been there a couple of years, and he'd come in and he were I weren't that old at the time, but he were probably a really young kid, and just finding his way. But yeah, I weren't really close to him. I have seen him since. I haven't seen him since he's been at the heights that he's at now, but I have seen him and had brief conversations with him when we bumped into each other, but nothing like where he's at now.
So you said you've played with some ex-pros. Who would you say the best player you've played
with? Best players I've played with, not necessarily being pros or ex-pros. There's been some unbelievable non-league players over the years, and I think at my Belper car school were as good as I've played with. So I had Ant Wilson, a striker that should have gone on and played league football. Something's not quite connected properly upstairs. He's and I think that's kind of the only thing that let him down. He were unbelievable. Then Lee Stevenson, centre midfielder, attacking midfielder, went and scored 35 goals a season from midfield. And this is at Evo stick level. And he did go on and play pro.
I know that name, yeah.
Yeah, played for Mansfield. So he's a good mate of mine, just lives around the corner from me. Ross Anna. Ross were at Belper with us and sort of absolute goal machine. He's gone on. He went pro at Bradford, and he's had a good non-league and pro career. Still playing now, back at Matlock. But yeah, they were players that you just thought, like consistent, 8 out of 10 week in, week out, no hassle. Got their head down, could deal with the ball, could get around the pitch, could create things, weren't bothered about finances, how much they were earning. It were all about the football, and there's some real good players up at Stocksbridge. We had a lad called Stefan Zoll. Stefan were, again, frightening striker, strong as they come, pace, and scored goals. Rinky picked him up from, I think he lived Leeds, Bradford way. But yeah, Steve Owes, ex-pro at Sheffield United, centre midfield, as annoying as they come, but a fun man, a good character of the game. And then even Tom Naylor, who's captain of Portsmouth now, Wayne Bullymore, who was an ex-pro, Neil Redfern, ex-pro. But I could go on and like I say, I know I've name dropped a few there, but the calibre of players that I played with, our privilege to play in a team with so many talented players, and yeah, like I said, the list is endless. I could go on.
Incredible, that mate! Wow,
it is. So, in terms of fans, like you said, with Worksop about the fan base, they've got a great fan base. Would you say that's the best fan base you've played with or played for?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Certainly in non-league. When Worksop is buzzing and they're flying, and they're going to get 500-600 fans through. We were back then in the Unibond days. 500-600 passionate fans as well, not just fans just coming to watch a game or like we know groundhopping. They were passionate fans. They were Worksop is like Worksop till I die sort of thing, and it were. I think that other non-league clubs have got real passionate fans, but just not the volume of support. Belper, when we were doing really well, we got 350 fans through the turnstiles. Stocksbridge Row is a difficult one to pulling the fans up at Stocksbridge, and I think that's always been an issue. And I think that the fan base has risen over the years, but that's, I think, down to Wilts and the football that they're playing and how successful they've been competing in the league. And the short stint at Ilkeston, I think Ilkeston were on par. We were Worksop because of the sheer volume and the numbers of spectators. Not as vocal or passionate, but they were certainly good fans back then.
I've got to mention, did Glatwell have a fan base? The big one?
Yeah, not a big one, no, but it really. I mean, I'm delighted that the club is sort of re-establishing itself, and I've seen things in the press and looking for support from the community because they want to get that club back up and running, and they had some. I believe they moved on too quickly, and they couldn't really deal with the times and how they changed and developed, and they got into the bartering of money, offering players money, and I heard they were paying big wages back then. But when we were playing, there were hardly any money around. But yeah, it was just it were a very nice, friendly, lovely community club, and I just thought they get that back moving forward. Now they've sort of come back round, and yeah, I've seen lots of good press, and they seem to have got a young chairman who's looking to push the club forward.
I mean, how high up were Glatwell? What was the highest division before they obviously went under?
I think they probably got to the Evo stick, whatever it was called back then. But yeah, equivalent to Evo stick. But yeah, that's probably as high as they got.
Yeah, and I know they've kept the ground still that they played in, I believe, as well. So,
yeah, whole corner. Well, I played some games for Renishaw this season, and I actually saw you, Jake. I think it was last game. I don't know if you even recognised it was me that was playing. You probably thought I looked ill. I was freezing. We were getting beat 5-1. I had a short sleeve top on with a different colour than Rama, and I've seen some photos since, and I looked ill. So yeah, I can't remember if you actually saw I were there, but I saw you. Few cans of Stella. But yeah, we were. Ironically, we beat that team.
Sutton Rovers, yeah.
It was Sutton.
Yeah, Sutton Rovers.
Yeah, they're called Sutton. But we beat the team. We played back-to-back fixtures, and we beat them the week before. And then we turned up, and we'd had no team. I mean, we should have said we hadn't got a squad because of COVID. But we didn't, and we did the right thing. And we turned up, and it was a patched-up team. and we got absolutely dicked. And it weren't a good experience. So, yeah, to say the least.
We were both there, and so was Jack, our other friend who we've had on. I said, were you number 8 that day? I think. Yeah,
possibly, but I've never ever been a number 8. So if Gaffer's listening to this, Renishaw manager, he needs to change that. I've never been a number 8.
I'm just guessing there, mate. I am honestly, but yeah, I thought I recognised. I thought that's Colliver, innit? I swear it is. But I didn't want to shout just in case I were wrong. And yeah, 5-0 at half time. I remember I wrote that post.
5-0 at half time. I think it was 4-0 after 20 minutes.
It was something like that, yeah.
Game done and dusted. But yeah, the fair play to the Renishaw lads. Like I think the team that I played in, it only started off to help the manager out as a bit of a favour. He's a pal of mine. So I said, yeah, I'll give it a game. We won at my first game, and it just went from there. You get the buzz back, and ended up playing week in, week out, 2 games a week, some weeks, and really enjoyed it. And they're doing things in the right way. They're trying to develop the whole club as well, which they've got some big plans on the way. So hopefully things are moving in the right direction for that.
So I've been to Renishaw's ground. How they play in Kiverton Bridge? Do they intend to stay in Kiverton Bridge, or do they intend to move it to Renishaw?
I think so. I think he's weighing up all options at the moment. I think he'd like his own development, and I don't know where it is, who it belongs to, the ground, but the structure's actually there. The pitch is it's all right if they can put some petrol in lawnmower and give it a cut every now and again. It would be all right. But yeah, the structure's there. So I think if they could develop where they're at now at Kiverton, I think it could be something really, really special, as well as if they get the community on board and maybe look at like building the whole club. So yeah, good luck to them.
Fair play, all the best. Thought it was a nice little club when I visited back in September. So
yeah.
What's it been like playing through COVID then with the stop-start?
It's been difficult. I mean, it can, like at my age playing, it can sometimes help me out stop-start. So, but I think it has been a bit difficult, certainly for momentum. And when I first went, we picked up some good results, and then you'd be injured, and you not know if you're going to be playing that weekend, and then it's a case of other squads have got COVID, so they can't play. And then you're playing back-to-back fixtures against the same team, as we've just talked about there. I think that happened a couple of times. So it's not been ideal, but I think when you get to the situation of no football or take football as and when, you take it and you play games. And like going back to that one at Sutton as last game, or one of the last games, we shouldn't have played it. We should have said, look, we've not got enough players to get a team out, but we did the right thing. We turned up, we gave it a go, and got absolutely digged.
Well, we had a great day out there, so thank goodness you did. Anyway, sorry at your expense, but yeah.
Well, the second half,
we're goals.
I can remember Jake saying at half time, this might be his first double figure blog, and the second half, you held your own. You had some chances yourself to try and get back into it, but
yeah. Well, that was my feeling at half time. I've gone in and I remember, because I am a bit cautious when it comes to COVID. So I've they were like the main area of the changing room, and then a part where, well, there were one chair, and I've gone and sat on that one chair. I've got my head in my hands thinking, how many is this going to be? Come on, we need to really, really produce something in this second half. But yeah, I think that I'm trying to help and support and the lads, so I never let anything show. I just sort of had a minute and then, right, let's try and regroup and go again. So I just look at the younger kids maybe looking at me thinking, look, if he's got his head in his hands and if he's down, rest of us will follow, rather than me trying to be positive. So I had a quick minute, put some water on my face, and then thought, right, let's get back at it. So tried to rally the troops, and we had a decent second half.
You certainly did. Right, we'll finish with the last question. We asked this question to everyone. If you could sum up football in 3 words, what would it be?
Sum up football. Passionate. So I think first one is the passion that people show, and that goes for all the clubs that I've been at and all the clubs that I've worked at. The passion, not just on the pitch, behind the scenes, the volunteers, the people that make things, that the clubs tick and clubs what they are today. So I think the passion, which I don't want to see that dwindling when I look at Football League and I look at particularly the Premier League, with the VAR, I look at, is that being zapped from players and spectators? Do they know when to cheer a goal? Do they know when not to? Are they waiting for it to be ruled out? So I don't want to see that going, but certainly at like non-league level, the passion will always be there from spectators. I think from football in general, it's random. You never know what's around the corner. You never know what teams are going to produce, clubs are going to produce. Are they going to be here for the long goal? Is it a short-term plan? Have they got a plan behind the structure? And then I think exciting. Certainly non-league and the levels of football that I've watched for Sheffield United up until the Premier League. It's that excitement. It's that excitement that brings you to football, that has that fire in your belly, wanting to do well for yourself, wanting to do well for the club, people around you, the spectators. But I think then obviously in the football league, the excitement of watching and the players that you play, that you're watching play, and I don't want that excitement that ever to go away with VAR. And I think there's been errors over the years, and I've been the worst ever, and I have addressed it. I've been the worst ever with officials, and I'm sure some officials are listening now and thinking it's that knobhead on podcast. But I will be looking at my own performance, because I'd rather have errors, but you get that excitement, and you can support and cheer a goal, than not, and it getting ruled out by VAR and going back to a TV screen. So yeah, it might be human error that comes back into play, but for me, it's been a massive reset and learning curve, and all officials out there now, you've got it from me. I won't be slagging you again. Honest.
So that's an apology to all the officials.
I don't think it's an apology. I think some might need to apologise to me over years. I'd have treated me or my bank account for paying me subs, paying me fines, £10 or £12, or a few red cards chucked in there. But yeah, I think I know I have been much improved when playing, and it's a difficult job. It is a difficult job to be that official, but I think I am swaying towards human error rather than VAR, and looking back at it and getting the lines out and seeing how many times you can look at the same thing and how long it takes you to come up with the right decision. But yeah, let's go with that excitement, that moment in time. And if we have some human errors, then so be
passionate, random, exciting. That's an interesting one. I like it an awful lot.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't know about non-league or pro or football league, so I thought I'd chuck
Fair
that
play.
in.
And will we see you back in management, do you think, soon? Again? Yep.
Hopefully, yeah. Hopefully, I've certainly got that fire in my belly. I feel like I've been out of it too long now. When I say out of it, I've always kept an interest. I've always continued to speak to players and kept an eye in for players and different clubs. I've done some work with different managers at different leagues to sort of like if you like, recruitment or advising, and I've done some stuff with managers. So I'm not fully out of it, but yeah, looking to get back involved. And it was again, time and opportunities, and my little lad coming along and have sort of taken over. But my lad's at an age now where I can sort of get back in the dugout, whether that's a manager, assistant, a coach, whatever it might be. But yeah, I've got that fire in my belly to get back in and hopefully do well at whatever club that is.
Fantastic, great to hear, mate. And I'm sure we can say, watch this space, and referees, beware.
Yeah, I know. No, it's. I'll keep my mouth shut. I've learnt now. I need to keep my tenors rather than paying it to FA.
Right, James, it's been a pleasure to have you on and speak to you.
No, brilliant. Any time. So yeah, good luck with it. It's been good to have a catch up, and
thank you very much,
all the best
mate.
to you both.
It's a pleasure.
Take care.
Cheers, then.
Cheerio.
Take care.